Hey guys, Carrie Lee here from Made to Pray. I wanted to pop on and share something that's been kind of ruminating in me this week. Just some thoughts that have been making me slow down and think them through and pay attention. Of course, it stems from my daily devotional. It's called Experiencing God's Presence. It is from the One Year Bible series, and it is by Chris Tigring. I love it. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. Each page is just one page devotional, so it's not super time consuming. You can dig in, you can read the scripture. There's a little scripture here, there's a prayer at the bottom, and then it's just gold. It's so good. Most of the time, like, we'll read the scripture and it's just a part of a chapter, so we'll go and read the whole chapter, but you don't need to. It's so good. My husband and I were talking last weekend about just a few different conversations that we had both had over the course of last week. And we had both been realizing that some of these conversations we were having with people that were really kind of struggling with their thoughts stemmed from comparison. Comparison is a liar and a thief, you guys. We can't give into it. We can't let our mind spiral, and we can't compare. Listen, this is going up on social media. We just can't get caught up in it. Like, social media can be used for good, but it can be detrimental to our health if we allow comparison to come in and rob us. And so we had just been talking to a couple different friends about things, and I was just like, when you start comparing your life circumstances with somebody else's, or your finances, or your ministry, or your job, or your house, or your car, or your vacation, or fill in the blank, right? When you start comparing that with other people, whether they're people you know or people on the internet or whatever, it's a stumbling block for you, that you just open the door up for the enemy. And I've been talking a lot this year about the power of agreement and how we need to make our thoughts align with God's thoughts about us and for us, and anything that doesn't line up with that, we need to get it out. And comparison just opens those doors wide open for those thoughts that don't line up with what God says about us or has planned for us. And then I opened up my trusty devotional, and I read this, and it made me realize that comparison doesn't just stay comparison. It leads to complaining. And I know I'm a glass half full, Pollyanna-ish, very faith-filled, like, God's gonna do it, have hope and have faith. I know, and that's didn't used to be my bent. I've shared that on the podcast before several times. God supernaturally changed that. I didn't used to be this way, but I've been this way now for most of my life, like over half of my life. This is how I am now, and I prefer it, I will tell you, to the other. It's a lot more peaceful. It's a lot more joyful. I highly recommend putting all of your faith and all of your trust in Jesus. But what I realized is, when we allow ourselves to start comparing our life with other people, it leads to complaining about what is missing or seems to be missing in our own life. And we don't want that to happen. So I opened up my devotional the other day, earlier this week, and I just want to read a portion of it to you. It says, it's the scripture is from Numbers 14, which is a tough scripture, but it says, "Because you complained against me, every one of you who is 20 years old or older and was included in the registration will die. You will not enter and occupy the land I swore to give you." So Chris Tigring goes on to say, the Israelites faced an enormous obstacle on their way to the promised land. It wasn't the Red Sea. God parted that with ease. It wasn't the vast stretch of wilderness between Egypt and the Jordan. God provided bread from heaven and water from a rock to sustain them. It wasn't the giants in the land. God had promised victory. No, the biggest obstacle the Israelites faced was their own attitude. Oh, and that just hits you right in the feels. Their own attitude. Their complaints kept them from experiencing God's best. Complaints or grumbling, as some translations express it, give voice to the fear and unbelief of our hearts. They are an audible expression of the contradictions of God. You guys, we don't want to contradict God. We want to agree with what he says. We want to line our thoughts with the thoughts he thinks towards us. We want to come into agreement with him. So I just wanted to encourage you today to pay attention to what you're paying attention to pay attention to your thought life, to stop yourself. If you have to turn off notifications, if you have to take a social media fast, if you need to stop TikTok or Instagram, or I know, here I am on these platforms telling you maybe take a break. If doom scrolling is a real temptation for you and it leads to comparison and complaining, it's not good for your soul. And I'm not saying to leave altogether. I'm just saying let's pay attention. And if that's happening, let's purpose to step back, put the phone down, close the laptop, take a walk, go outside, pray, ask God. Okay, I know that some people might be able to go to Paris and I can barely go, across town for a vacation, but I know that you are my provider. I know that you have good plans for me. Remind yourself of truth. Ask him for guidance. Ask him to help adjust your heart again so that you are in sync with him and in agreement with him. And it will make all the difference. So that's it. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Pay attention, guys, to what you're paying attention to. Be blessed. We'll be back.